Happy Monday, good people. Welcome to WWT Live as part of Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet. And on the heels of an amazing weekend, it's pretty safe to say that what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas and goes out to the rest of the world. We'll explain all of that and more on today's edition of WWT Live.
Yeah. Now I'm going to go off. This is Shayna, the Queen of Spades, Baszler, and you're watching Women's Wrestling Talk.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
Happy Wednesday, good people. And not Wednesday, it's Monday. Guys, I don't know why this happens to me all the time. Like, I just can't remember the days. There's actually a real reason why. I can't fully go into it, but I can say it is Monday. Happy Monday, good people. I hope you're doing well. It's time for Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet. And this is WWT Live, where we're talking all things pro wrestling. And there was a massive weekend that took place. Again, I am Gerard Bonner, your professor, GB, Teflon G, whatever it is you feel like calling me today. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. And I am not alone. I'm hanging out, of course, with the guy from That Wrestling Podcast. Jason's in the building. How are you, sir?
Professor, hello.
You doing good, sir?
Yeah, man. It was a big sanitation, the Midwest Sanitation Expo took place this weekend. I was there all weekend long in Michigan and glad to be back to talk about Battleground and so much other stuff that we got going on for the show today. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's really quite crazy, all the things that are happening. Shout out to Dylan. Indeed, it is Tuesday where you are, kind sir. I always love talking to you from the future. It is one of the best feelings ever. Matt, always a pleasure to see you hanging with us. Now, I am told we have a special guest joining us, and there seems to be preparation happening. So I'm going to try to wait until I get the green light to welcome them. Oh, we got the green light. Okay, so literally fresh from a trip to visit his constituents, and we actually have proof that he is indeed the mayor of Vice City. Said is it. Well, wait, before I do that, we have another elected official that's just joined us. I'm trying to save it because something is cooking. But our other elected official is with us. The councilman is here. Councilman Farrell's in the building. How are you, sir?
I am tired. I have been going back and forth from, of course, Lost Ricochet, Parkerville. It's been a hectic weekend, Professor. It's been a hectic weekend, but I'm glad to be here. Couldn't miss this Monday's episode. How you doing, Jason, as well, bro? Great to see you.
What's up, man? How are you? Big weekend. Let's get big wrestling weekend and start it off.
Yeah, it's a big one for sure. Always good to see you. All right, so let's officially welcome the mayor is here.
Woo! Hey, we smoking that Baszler pack. That Baszler pack. We got bottles. This show's gonna go so off the rails. It's going to go so off the rails, and I'm telling you right now, I haven't slept.
Oh, Lord. Oh, boy. Well,
Vegas.
Well, so, yes. So people are already asking, which let me just shout out already. Dylan saying you better have on your turtleneck. Well, he might have some.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's the kind of show we have.
Straight to the head. Oh, okay. It's like that.
It's a celebration.
Oh boy. Oh boy. So let's see. Boza says, was the mayor in Vegas? Also the question, Cousin Ron, where's the blue shirt? It's there, but I have to show you guys where else the blue shirt is because you're not going to believe it until you see it. Yes, Lola Vice won, but this picture that you see right here on the far right-hand side, that figure is indeed the mayor. Mayor said And these wonderful people, as part of the constituency, are not just people wearing blue shirts. They are the actual blood family of Lola Vice. So the mayor is indeed part of the family officially. I was going to wait until we got to this part, but I mean, why wait?
Right.
Battleground was last night. This is top news. The only non-title match of the night. Lola Vice in the first underground match on a PLE wins, knocks Shayna Baszler out. I guess my opening question to you, Seth, is what was the vibe inside the Apex arena? Because it looked phenomenal. You had some fun stories to tell us in the chat, but first, what was the environment like? And then I have to know the story behind this picture.
It was amazing. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if we have more shows there throughout the year. I don't know if you can pull off like an actual main roster PLE, but that environment for NXT, 100% beautiful. They have to do it for one show a year. Very intimate, no bad seat in the house. And if you were following on socials, there were a lot of complaints because if you remember, the Apex started becoming a thing around 2020. During the pandemic, they used to host a lot of UFC shows there. They still do, but they don't pack it out like that. So now the gears have to be turning to how well they can do. And that's just all profit. That is all profit. And when I tell you, like, the people I was just sitting next to, it was crazy. I'll tell the story about the Oral Mensa thing later, but like, I was sitting right next to CM Punk during the women's title match, sitting right next to Gail Kim and Jonathan Gresham, sitting right next to UFC fighters like Brandon Moreno. Like, it was so intimate and so cool. Like, you can hear, like, I was close enough to where I can hear the commentators actually doing their thing.
I love it.
I can hear the commentators like still talking, and all the action in that small space was beautiful. I loved every last second of it.
That's cool. When they announced that it was in the Apex, and I looked up, you know, how many people that place could seat, it became very clear that they were not going there with the intent of, you know, having 15,000 people, which I think most of us look at as the goal, right? Like to pack as many people in these large arenas as possible. It was clear that was not the goal. It certainly felt like this was the weekend where they were making very clear this whole TKO situation and the partnership involving UFC and WWE. What was kind of the feel for you, said through there? Did you feel like this felt very partnership partnership driven, as opposed to let's pack as many fans out? Was this more of a situation where we're taking advantage of the connection with UFC, or was it just right place, right time for all of that plus TNA?
It did feel very partnership driven. Even if you looked at the video segments they did, it felt like actually utilizing the full capabilities of both brands. And it was so welcoming. When I tell you, like, intimate setting, like, I didn't pay for parking. We just pulled up, park wherever you want to park, and walk into the Apex. You walk straight in through a turnstile. They escort you to your seat. It felt very, very top notch, very upscale, and it was very welcoming for all the fans there. So I can't wait till they do more. I will definitely be a mainstay if they keep doing those events at the Apex. But that they hit on this. They absolutely hit on this.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, before we continue with our look back at Battleground, we've got to welcome the lady of the house. Yeah, that I like that name. The lady of the house. You can bank on that. Money changes everything. Honey is in the building. How are you?
I'm doing great, guys. How's everybody doing? I hope the weekend was good. Finally caught up on everything. So I was sorry, I'm a little tardy to the party. What's up, everybody in the chat? Everybody all smiles today. I feel the vibes. I'm loving it so far. So great. Yeah,
you missed a bit of a barn burner, which it might pop up a little bit later. Let's just say that Said is prepared with a celebratory beverage. Let's just
shout outs to the final boss.
If you just pulled up from the ice,
wait.
Compliments to the final boss.
Professor, I did not think you meant that literally. Holy
cow.
No,
literally.
Wasn't that bottle full when you jumped on, Said?
It really was, though.
And now it's not.
Wow. Okay. All right.
It's like Steve. It's like Steve. I got somebody in the back just every time I want one.
Yeah.
There you go.
Throw it.
That's amazing.
Well, needless to say, we're going to take a quick look back at Battleground. It took place last night in a very full weekend, and a lot of news came out of Vegas. One of the big pieces of news kicking off the show, of course, was the inaugural North American title match for the women's side. It was a ladder match. 6 incredible competitors walking away as the winner in a very competitive match. Kaylani Jordan. Honey, let's start with you. What were your thoughts on Kaylani Jordan walking out as the first ever women's North American champion?
Just nothing but huge congratulations. She was honestly an unexpected. Well, honestly, we kind of spoke about this last time, but I knew she would have been a highlight in this match, but I just didn't think it was gonna go that way. I will say the match was a little quick, so I wasn't expecting it to happen when it did, like when she took the belt off and took the title down. But all in all, I knew this was gonna be a highlight of the night. This also was very well done for it to be an opener, just to set the tone for the evening. The ladies rocked the house, each and every single one of them. But shout outs to Kaylani Jordan for coming out on top. That was very unexpected. My pick was Lash Legend, and I believe my dark horse was Jada Parker. They were looking real strong in there at one point, but Kaylani ends up taking the cake, and that was actually really, really cool to see. And nobody could take this away from her because she's completely made history for sure.
For sure. Jason, your thoughts on this one?
The saying is you either want to be first or last on the card, and this was a great opener. From what I've been reading today, it looks like everyone's a little banged up, but nobody is seriously hurt. And I'm surprised because Lash took that bump off the ladder. I thought maybe a broken tailbone or something even worse, but I'm glad that she's okay. And look, whoever is in the women's Money in the Bank ladder match here in about a month, they've got a lot to live up to after what the ladies did last night. So I love it. I can't wait to see more of it. And good luck to the main roster ladies at Money in the Bank.
Absolutely. Councilman, let me ask you this one, because I see a couple of people in the chat, many of whom were somewhat surprised that Kaylani Jordan walked away as the North American Women's Champion. My question to you, or the Women's North American Champion, they had a hard time twisting those words last night. My question to you is, did they get the right one? Or do you think somebody else should have been the first North American champion?
I don't think so. And I'm going to say, I was kind of like Honey when she said, I was not expecting her to win. But for some reason, when she pulled down the title, it felt right. Like I and it's kind of like hard to explain, but for some reason it was like, I'm not mad at this. Like I feel like she does make the perfect sense. Like cute as a button, great in the ring. The personality that she has is working. Like I think it is a great build for her to be the first one to put a stamp on this title. And I think people shouldn't be upset about it because just like how y'all said, this was a great opener. It wasn't too long, but I have to say that all of these women elevated after this match. Like I think Lash Legend showed you why she'll be a great women's champion. It showed you why Jada Parker could probably be one of the top heels coming in a long time. We see why Soul is so loved by the fans. It just, and even Mi Chen, like we have seen so much of Mi Chen now. You have a match Tuesday. You have a match with the Tribal Queen Friday. Like she's finally getting her shine. And I feel like that's what this ladder match did. So there's no losers in here if I'm just being honest. And I think Kaylani is going to be a great start to what's going to be some history making matches with this NXT Women's North American title.
Said, I want to ask you, obviously, what was the feel in the room with Kaylani Jordan winning? And did the room kind of have someone else in mind in terms of who they thought could win this title?
I mean, it was history. I thought it was well received. I feel like I feel like whoever grabbed the title would have been a surprise because I think you can make a case for each and every last competitor. But like I think I even said on our predictions last week, I thought Kalani was the dark horse. You got to keep in mind that slowly and quietly they've invested the most in Kalani over these past several months, but it got derailed when Dana Brooke got let go from NXT.
Yeah.
That was the mentor angle they were going, and they kind of had to switch gears. But runner-up in the breakout tournament, then you had this character arc that she was doing, and it got derailed. But I think it's the right decision, and I felt that way. I had Parker. I think Parker was my pick, but I felt that way with the promo that she cut last Tuesday when she was saying like the title needs Lonnie, and the title like just using that type of vernacular and rhetoric. I think there's a lot of like room they have to grow with her character while being the inaugural champ. And I think they hit it on the head. I mean, it was a nonstop action. I think every woman shined at one point or another during the match. There was legit spots where I thought that Lash was going to win. There's legit spots where I think Parker could have took it. And I think she probably became an overnight celebrity again. So yeah, it was a beautiful match.
Yeah, I'm gonna need that like Lonnie shirt. I'm gonna need a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Wait. I got another sidebar. Like, respectfully, I know why Jada Parker's little hip attack is formidable now. Respectfully.
Yeah.
I know why.
Yeah, I agree now. Yeah. I'm like, I have to retract my statement too. I see why it's a finisher. I was like, okay.
Now I know. Now I know.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
If you didn't, now you do.
Yeah. So let me. There's a particular comment. Dylan has a hot take. His hot take is, I don't think Miss Jordan has done enough to get a title, especially first ever. I'm happy to get proven wrong with the run. What do you guys think to Dylan's comment?
I would argue who else had.
That's true. That's true.
Who else did do enough? I think you would have been surprised with whoever you chose.
No matter what.
Yeah.
No matter what, because either one, no matter who was going to be chosen, they were going to be the first. Regardless of what was going on, somebody was making history. Didn't matter.
Yeah, this is really, and I hate to compare apples and oranges here, but this is the long play. Like, I'm very serious about that transition into the her character. I can totally see it.
Yeah. And I think what this proved too is with her winning and just again this match in general, I have no doubt that each and every single woman that was in this match is going to hold gold in NXT before they go to the main roster. That's what this showed.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say this. For one, of the 6 women, only one of them had held a title at some point, and that was a very short and unimpressive tag title run for Fallon Henley during the 2.0 era, which most people probably forgot. To me, I think it would almost be unfair to say that she hasn't done enough to get a title and yet praise Obafemi, who is the men's North American champion, who did even less to get his title shot. He won the breakout tournament in his 3rd or 4th match ever, and boom, he cashed in and is the champion. I think the North American Championship right now is really much like what the intent of the Intercontinental Championship was. It's the title that shows who's got next, and we get to watch the rise of that person as they're going up to become whomever they're going to be, and think about it, whether it was Adam Cole, the very first champion, Carmelo Hayes, who's got obviously a connection to Kalani Jordan, or several of the others. We see people who have held that title. Damian Priest, who's the current world heavyweight champion. We can run down the list of the people who have held that title. Johnny Gargano, and several others who have held the North American Championship that has positioned them for greatness. And I think we get to see this brand new crop of stars on the men's and women's division go through that North American title division and become stars. And I think that that's a great thing. So to me, I don't know that this was having to do enough. I think all 6 of the women that were in there were already proven. They deserved the right It's not like they were handpicked. They won matches to get in. They competed in a combine. They did all these things. So I think it's going to be great. And again, it just shows why the NXT women's division is as competitive as it is. Pretty exciting. All right.
Oh, yeah.
So a big win for Kaylani Jordan, a big win also for Axiom and Nathan Frazier, who retained their championship, defeating the Good Brothers. Honey, I am automatically reminded to our conversations weekly on NXT. For those who have not watched, in a nutshell, I believe that this tag team title match was important for Axiom and Nathan Frazier for us to really start to care about them as tag team champions. Quickly, let me get your thoughts, guys, on this tag team title match and Axiom and Nathan Frazier retaining.
They got the job done for me. I'm fully invested in where they're going forward, especially after beating veterans in the Good Brothers the way that they did. It was a very good match. Unexpectedly so. Like I was expecting this to be a little bit of the shorter match, but this match just kept going and going, and there was some crazy spots in there where I even thought like Nathan Frazier pretty much like almost landed on his head. There was like a few times where it was just a little crazy there for me, but it got really it was really well done. The Good Brothers always shine the way they do, and they always help put over the younger talent and continue to do so. So shout outs to them for doing that, even though they didn't win the only tag titles that they haven't won.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I think that the Good Brothers were there to make these guys look great, and they did.
Yes.
And how about I can't figure out how much more weight Carl Anderson and Gallows can lose, because they just keep getting smaller and smaller. I mean, it's insane. It's pretty awesome. The body formation, the formate. I don't know. The weight loss and what they're doing in the build is great for those two. And they came down to do what to do. They made Honey care about the tag titles and these champs. And I think they're a fun team. I can't remember the guy from the Axiom is somebody from NXT UK, right?
A-Kid.
Mm-hmm.
A-Kid. Mm-hmm. So like there's those little jokes, where Frazier will say something about his face, and Axiom will make a comment about his face, but we can't see his face. Like I like that just subtle humor and stuff. But these guys are great in the ring. The match was fun, little long. You're right, Honey. But the Good Brothers do what the Good Brothers do. So
yeah, me, I'm a big fan of the Good Brothers, man. The OC is near and dear to my heart. But just to y'all point, this made me believe in Axiom and Nathan's as a tag team. I didn't see them no more as two individual stars they put together. It's like,
yeah,
they did exactly what I was saying that they need to do. Like, you are going to have to bring it. You're going to have to pull everything out the playbook to be able to defeat the Good Brothers. And that's exactly what they had to do. Yes, I even though I did want to see the Good Brothers win, to Dylan's point, but I think also what this helped do was also show why the Good Brothers are one of the greatest tag teams in the world.
Fact.
And at any time, if they did really want those tag titles, they could take them and they could finally have that. But it's not something that's needed. And I think, too, just with this, just continues to spotlight the OC a little bit more, because now we're seeing the Good Brothers again with AJ Styles being on SmackDown. So I have no doubt that we'll start seeing them in SmackDown tag team action again, with just how good they look and how well they put these two boys over. So again, to y'all point, match was a little longer than expected, but it wasn't boring. It wasn't slow. Both teams did a phenomenal job. And it just really again, another match that elevated both sides.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's the key. Dylan is hot over here. Like,
I was just looking, and I'm like,
wow. So for the people who can't see and who are only hearing, Dylan says that Axiom and Frazier retaining irritated him. He's asking, what are they doing with the Good Brothers? Then he said to break up Axiom and Frazier, then give me the best of 5 series. Good Brothers need and deserve a title. And then followed by saying they're the greatest jobbers in the world. I am annoyed.
But I gotta say to that, if you break up Axiom and Nathan, then their stock drops because then where do you place them? Because I don't see Axiom as a North American champion. And then Nathan is probably going to be what, NXT Heritage Champion, and then that's going to be about it. Like they haven't gotten to the point where you can have them do a solo run just yet. The fact that they proved that the fact that they could be tag team champions, it's now building their stock up. But I wouldn't mind seeing that later down the road. But this is the best fit for them to consistently remain on television.
Speed title is in their singles futures.
I disagree with that, and here's why. A-Kid was pretty phenomenal in NXT UK. If you go back and look at those runs, and Nathan Frazier has a place as a single star. They was doing just fine before that. And if you want to break them up, because the thing is, like, they're not a real tag team. I think that's why fans get annoyed, is that you push people together and then you push real tag teams down the card. The thing about Nathan is there is a space for him right now as the best high flyer in the company.
Oh, yes.
Easily. And we'll talk about that later with a vacancy that might be open, but he can easily slide in that spot as somebody that you want to see for, like, the same reasons you love Braun Breaker, for as fast as he hits the ropes, the things that he can do that nobody else can, he slides into that spot as a spectacle. So that's why he can be a single star.
But you see what happens with them spectacles and how they drop the ball on those. And that's a big chance.
Nobody thought Wesley would be where he was. Look at Wesley as an example. Nobody thought Wesley would be this amazing single star, but he is.
Yeah.
I will say this, and I think, you know, as we all grow in our knowledge and love for the wrestling business, I think one of the things that we have to understand is, and this is going to play well to something we'll discuss a little bit later. Everybody can't be the world champion. Everybody can't be the tag team champions. You know, we used to talk about the greatest wrestlers who were never world champions. People like Jake the Snake Roberts, who you absolutely love to talk about. You know, there are several others who never had the chance to be the world champion, yet we remember them and we value what they've been able to contribute. And so I think as wrestlers' careers grow and elongate, their roles change, you know? And so I think right now, any main roster star who makes their way to NXT is going there with a purpose. One of two things: to either revitalize their own career or help build the career of those who are there. The good thing for Ami Chin, for the Good Brothers, is they both have solidified places on the main roster. So it's not like they're exclusive to NXT at this point. And when we did see exclusivity like we did with Baron Corbin, you know, there was a purpose behind it. He did get a championship out of it, but he ended up better because of it. And I think, you know, while we are fans of certain wrestlers, and again, this is kind of a problem we see on the main roster as well, lots of stars being created, lots of household names happening. Everybody can't be the champion at once. So I think it'll be interesting to see what happens, but congratulations to them. Again, the Underground, the only non-title match on the card. And let me just go ahead and yield the floor, because I don't know that anybody cares, but I have to say, he's already charging up with a beverage. So, Mayor, it's on you.
Man, what can I say? What can I say that hasn't already been said? Mrs. Underground. What's crazy is y'all think the mayor is just some gimmick I created for WWT. Nah, I'm really judicial out in these streets, man. I said exactly what was going to happen. Did I not? I said it's going to be a knockout that the referee might seemingly stop a little too soon. Now, there's a lot of like delicacies that I love about this match. The fact that once Shayna got hit, they called it on the commentary table that she doesn't know where she is. She grabbed the ref's leg. So if you watch a lot of MMA fights, when people are dazed off, they reach for the first thing they see. She thought she was grabbing Lola's leg. But a lot of the spots in the match, and shout out to like, I think I put it in the chat, shout out to Lights Camera Faction. They were a part of the ring crew for NXT Underground, doing different spots, the table spots, things like that. This is a well done match. And I think I saw, what's my man's name that used to be a part of the Vaudevillains? He's in TNA now.
Matthew Raywald.
Yes.
Yeah.
He said, shout out to NXT for taking a thing that failed on the main roster and making it theirs. Underground is a thing that's going to be a staple in NXT for a long time. And you have Queen of the Underground now. For all those people that thought that Shayna was going to come down, it's the same theme that we saw with people like Michin in the first match, with the Good Brothers in the tag team match. These people are coming down not to revitalize their career, but to help elevate the next stars of tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And Shayna did that. If you saw all the presentation with the build up to this match, all the press they were doing on MMAfighting.com and all these other partner sites, ESPN, things like that, these interviews that are going on, they showed Shayna's name in the hallway.
Yes.
On the shirt. Like this was like a real build up. So much so that after the match, they did legit post-fight interviews.
They did.
Legit post-fight interviews where Shayna was saying, like, I like the performance I had, things like that. This is here to stay. I'm happy that the ladies are getting their shine, but I'm more so happy that the elevation of Lola is going to continue. And that's now her match. We talked about the fight pit with Matt Riddle and the people before. That is her match. Fun fact. We talked about the story about the family earlier. I was talking to her pops, and her pops is trying to talk to Sean about getting her to run that match with Ronda before Ronda left. Could you imagine if that happened?
That'd be fire.
So that's the trajectory that Lola's on. So it's like it's not just some gimmick. They really see a star in the making with her. And I didn't get to answer this question earlier, but the fun fact, and shout out to Andreas Hale, he's a great journalist for ESPN.com. Somebody who I hope to mentor me. We had a great conversation after the show for a while, and a producer comes up to me and was like, "Hey, I like your shirt." And that was one of the producers. And then Mama Vice said, "Hey, I like your shirt." Then the producer taps on her shoulder, was like, "Hey, Lola Vice's family wants to take a picture with you." I said, "Shit, you don't gotta tell me twice."
That's awesome.
Snapped some pics up. Was talking with Mama Vice, talking to Master Laredo, her pops, about how her and her sister Natalie, who had her first pro fight last year, have been training and fighting since they were 2 years old. Had a great conversation. Beautiful people. I know Natalie recently moved out to Los Angeles. She has her own podcast called Running with the Punches. Make sure you guys go subscribe to that. But beautiful things from Vice City all around. Great showing under the ground. And the spectacle it was, like, I can't say enough by how well they did. With even showing Shayna training with Jamal Hill before the actual fight.
Yes.
It was just beautiful to a T. It was beautiful. And then I'm not going to lie, it was a pro Lola crowd. Like, it wasn't the sea of blue I wanted, but it was a very pro Lola crowd in that audience. So just a great match.
I have a question too. Speaking of people that were around there, maybe I'm wrong when I saw it, and maybe Mary, you could correct me, but was the All Caribbean Wrestling Women's Champion Maserati in the around the ring? Was she there as well?
Yes,
was that
she
her?
Was. That was her.
Okay.
That was absolutely her.
Shout out to her there, because I was looking. I was like, is that her?
Mm-hmm.
That's dope to see. That was really dope to see.
And what an amazing week for Maserati, who kind of went viral by taking that crazy kick from Queen Aminata on Ring of Honor Thursday night. But to be there with her Thursday night and then to turn around and be at the Underground Sunday, huge look there for Maserati, the All Caribbean Wrestling Women's Champion. Really excited about that.
You know what's interesting, and I know why they did not bring it up. I love the UFC. Like, I've been to about 20, 25 shows over the years. Shayna Baszler is 0-5 in the UFC. She was Ronda's #1 pick in the Ultimate Fighter. And for like March Madness terms, she lost to a 16 seed, Roxanne Modafferi. So it's just, I feel like Lola could have used that in her trash talk or the lead up. Like, why are you here? You've never won here. Now, Shayna Baszler is a female MMA pioneer for sure. But once she got to the UFC, she just went downhill. So, like, I know why they didn't bring it up, but I feel like that could have been something in the build.
We knew that behind the scenes. We just wanted to be humble in the lead up, but we did what we said we were going to do. We said we're going to knock her out, and we're going to throw that ass in a circle. And it happened twice.
Yeah.
The prophecy happened twice. I said the sexy red thing would happen, and that's exactly what happened.
Right in front of the camera too. They right in front of our faces too. I was just like, you know what? I was like, I'm not going to hear the end of this on Monday. I knew it.
Yep.
I will say though that I think if you're trying to build an opponent, that 0-5 fact would have completely tanked her. That would have completely tanked her. So they couldn't use that, and I understand why. Because that would have taken any sort of credibility away from Shayna Baszler. So I get that. But yeah,
makes sense.
It was certainly a great moment. And again, I think the story behind this picture is amazing.
That's so awesome, though. That is so cool.
That's incredible. So congratulations. Oh, and I didn't get to tell you guys this, but Lola Vice actually reposted this picture in her stories.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's
amazing.
It's a thing. So
legit.
Congratulations. I'm sure there are a whole bunch of people wondering, who's that guy over there on the end? And so they're gonna know it's
the mayor of Vice City.
It's the mayor.
It's not a gimmick. It's not a gimmick. It's real life.
Who's that political figure over there in that picture?
That well-dressed man. So let's talk about this match here. The NXT Women's Championship on the line, a historic match between the NXT Women's Champion Roxanne Perez and the TNA Knockouts World Champion Jordan Grace. A very, very solid match. We end up seeing Tatum Paxley showing up. We end up seeing Ash by Elegance showing up, which was a brilliant call. Again, I'm telling you, the thing that Vic Joseph does.
Vic was on one last night. Vic was on one.
I'm telling you, I want the people to really acknowledge just the great things that both Vic and Booker are doing. It's pretty amazing to see. But at the end of the day, it ends up being Roxanne Perez as your NXT Women's Champion. What were your thoughts on this? Let me go to you first. What did it feel like in that room when Roxanne retained the championship?
Oh, okay. So you want me to go from the end? Oh man, it felt like the air was just knocked out of the building. If I'm being completely honest, like it felt like such a surprise because the presentation of everything. When I'm saying like right where Tatum dashed the ring, I'm sitting like right there, like literally right there, behind hard cam. So like all the TNA representation got moved up to the front to watch this match. Gail Kim was standing right beside me. The entire match, CM Punk came out to watch the match, sitting right there. So like everybody was heavily invested in this match, and I think nobody expected that ending. And I would say, like, me personally, I don't think it needed the extra like interference angle and things like that, the swerve there. It was a beautiful match from start to finish. Like, it showcased who we know Jordan Grace to be, her power, her athleticism, but it also showed me, probably for the first time, that Roxanne just needs the right dance partner and she can go. Like, she just needs somebody that opposite of her that she can keep speeds with, and she can put on a phenomenal match because she looked believable the entire time. I just thought what was weird was the finish. I think the finish was such a weird flat thing that when it happened, everybody's like, wait, no, that can't be it. Like that can't be what happened. And it made me really think that did they swap calls on the fly because of the earring tearing Jordan's lobe? Because she was gushing blood early in the match. Like, it was very noticeable. So I don't know if maybe they had to switch the call, but like Punk got up and left like immediately once that 3 hit, looking very upset. The TNA representation kind of got up from their seat and moved back behind the curtain and stuff like that. It looked very awkward. Like maybe that wasn't supposed to be the finish. And for the life of me, I can't understand how you have the chance to make history on that stage and you don't do it. Like right there.
So, Councilman, let me ask the question. Did they make the right call here? Should Roxanne have retained this championship? Now, I believe it was in the NXT post show where, was it the NXT post show? It was, or maybe the Ring of Honor post show. It was the Ring of Honor TNA post show that we did Friday morning, where one of the viewers kind of argued me down and said that there's absolutely a way that Roxanne could and should retain this championship. I did not believe that. So, Councilman, I've got to ask you, did they make the right call here in having Roxanne get the win over Jordynne Grace?
You're damn right they made the right call. That's her kingdom. You don't take away her kingdom with let somebody else come in your house and take your stuff away from you. She is the dominant champion. And like I said, I want to see the closed circle where Cora Jade takes the thing from her. Now, don't get me wrong. I will agree with the mayor. I did not like the ending. I felt like it was very Ultimate Warrior like, because I feel like she didn't sell Juggernaut. Like, she got hit with it, got up, then hit Pop Rocks, and then that was it. And I was just like, you didn't sell the so like y'all said, I think something went on where it had like it changed and altered the finish where they had to kind of end early, and that's what it kind of seemed like. It seemed like that wasn't the official ending, but I don't think Roxanne should have lost her title to here, and two, just for the simple fact that it wasn't title versus title. Now, had that happened, this would have seemed more like, okay, now it seems like, yes, y'all will let Jordynne Grace go to do this stuff. But since it was just hers on the line, I don't feel it's fair. And don't nobody give a fuck about what CM Punk thinks or how mad he is. You stay out my NXT. All right. You go put some Bengay on your knees and your elbows and go sit down somewhere, old timer. Don't nobody care about what you think. Because y'all talking about Shayna Baszler. Let's talk about his UFC career and how wonderful that was. Nobody care about your opinion.
Oh, it was terrible. I know.
Wow. Jason, did they make the right call here?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that match was so much fun. And I was traveling, so I knew what happened before I actually watched it. And even though I knew the result, it was just a great watch. I'm glad that the earring didn't cause like an early stoppage or something like that. But originally, like I thought maybe Jordynne wins and then Roxanne shows up Friday at the TNA event, wins it back, but maybe Roxanne goes to TNA Friday to try to win Jordynne's belt, just like that get back of Jordynne showing up at NXT trying to take her title. Now, of course, it's going to be Ash, maybe Tatum Paxley, obviously with all of that went on last night. This stuff needs to happen more often, I think. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoyed it. So whether for me, whoever won, it didn't matter. It was just an enjoyable match and I loved it. And the story was good too, because none of us saw Jordynne Grace coming out 3 weeks ago to accept the challenge.
Mm-hmm. Honey, this is a great bone of contention. What do you think? Should Jordynne Grace have left with the NXT championship last night?
I mean, under certain circumstances, I think she could have, but considering all the conversations that we had the last couple of weeks and seeing, trying to predict the fact that she could possibly make history double time with, combining championships from different promotions, which has never been done. But watching that match though, and as Jason said, it was a great watch. Watching that match, I remember hearing the pin go to 3 and I gasped and I sat up. Just the element of surprise in that. And to see Roxanne Perez, the prodigy, come out on top and protect what she has deemed rightfully hers. I'm a firm believer in this Roxanne Perez, even though I did put my pick on Jordynne Grace, but it just seemed more likely that could have been that would have been done for that they would have been able to combine the belts. But I think it was a smart idea for them to put Roxanne Perez over. It actually makes her title run a lot more valid. I think, as well as for the women's division, as far as making her a top competitor, she has Jordynne Grace's number. Think about that. The prodigy has the juggernaut's number. And I'm sure we're going to see something with them too again in the future, because I know that's not the way it's going to end. But shout outs to Roxanne Perez for coming out on top. It was really, really, really intense, good match. And Roxanne held her own. She really, really did. She thoroughly surprised me in that match. Jordan Grace was just nothing short of special. Like, she's just unbelievable. She's absolutely unbelievable. And they were both great to watch. Shout outs to both women for putting on a great show.
So I will say this. I've been very vocal about my thoughts on believing Jordan Grace would win this championship. What I'm going to say is a lesson that I think I have learned over the last year or so, specifically with this iteration of WWE. And that is, we can't throw, because I know a lot of people are saying this partnership now looks like the AEW partnership. And let me go to what Dylan said. This partnership should be to elevate TNA, not bury them like AEW did. What was the other? Boza says, if this is a partnership, Jordan should have won it. Let me say this. I feel like, number one, in terms of eyes on TNA, that was absolutely done. Tons of eyes on TNA. A large group of people had never seen Jordan Grace on this kind of platform before. Secondly, history was being made by welcoming a TNA talent for a one-on-one match against a WWE star in a WWE PLE. We'll get into some of the people from TNA who were there specifically, which I think speak to the partnership. My thought is, this is moment one of the partnership. So we can't, you don't measure a movie by its intro or its first scene. You don't measure a song by the intro. There's a lot still that has to happen in this partnership before we can say it's a win or it's a loss. Now, if we're a year from now and WWE has not taken an L at all in this, then we can equate this to the AEW partnership. The difference here, though, is with them sharing a parent company in Endeavor, there's going to be interest in raising the stock of both of the brands of both of these wrestling companies. And so there's obviously an understanding of ways to work together. And so we just need to sit and watch this. Again, this Friday, I think, will be the next chapter of it. And what may be telling is the fact that it wasn't just an NXT star that got involved in this match. It's a current TNA star that also got involved, that being Ash by Elegance. And the way they respected her by not referring to her total WWE name, but referring to her current TNA name also says a lot. So I say, before we fully pass judgment on this and call it a bust based on one match, let's kind of see this thing out, see the full totality of it, and see where it ultimately goes. It already has gone further than any other partnership we've seen in modern history with WWE. So I'm intrigued. I'm going to give this a little bit of time before I make a judgment call on it.
Yeah, and
Pop Rock's got to go. They got to go. Pop Rock's is the new Bailey to Belly.
Oh. No. I can't.
We're not going to do that.
No, I can't agree with that. No, I can't agree with that. See, no, I got.
Belly was trash.
I got. No, it wasn't. I got it, because one, I got to address the people here. Y'all are like them kids when your mama cooking and you want the food now, and it's like, yo, let it finish. Let it finish. Yeah, the little sample I gave you tastes good. Let it finish. And appreciate what was just seen, like the professor said. We never thought this would happen. A TNA star on a WWE PLE. Several of these other stars being highlighted and shown, like, let's take that in for a second. This is WCW Invasion vibes. And let's enjoy that. And for Roxanne, it ain't no Bailey to Bailey. Let's face it. We haven't had a standout NXT women's champion since the black and gold era. And that is what Roxanne Perez is doing. When Roxanne Perez walks off, she will now be the talk of being one of the greatest NXT women champion, because just like they said, Shayna Baszler is still considered the best one. Asuka still the best one. We haven't had nothing since then. Until we got Roxanne Perez. And I think that should also be acknowledged as a reason why she also went over, because that chapter deserves to be closed in a proper way where she stands tall and leaves something for everyone to start to climb up to try to change, to try to get to being whoever is going to be the next NXT Women's Champion.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that Mandy Rose would have been the longest reigning NXT champion if she wasn't here in chat room showing feet. Let's not give Roxanne
She showed more than
that much credit here, you know?
Yeah, nah.
Mandy Rose might still be champion right now if it wasn't for that.
But I think the caliber of opponents that Mandy Rose was against, 2.0 era versus this era,
think about the roster. Think about the roster at Asuka's time. Think about the roster during Shayna's time. Think about it during Roxy's time. Mandy, like, we kind of knew she could run through that roster. Roxanne, we weren't expecting her to run through the roster like this.
And not a heel Roxanne at that.
Exactly. We weren't even expecting a heel Roxanne. This was technically supposed to be Cora Jade and Roxanne, which we know is going to come soon. That's probably going to be the end of it. But I think that we, like you said, Professor, we need to, and Councilman, we need to appreciate what's in front of us, because everybody's so quick to drop titles and to just switch up and, heel turn and this, that, or move up to the main roster. As far as Roxanne's concerned, this is the main roster for her. Look at how high she holds this title to a very high standard. She's wanted this title since she was 13.
Yeah.
They also did something last night that I've not seen them do in reference to any NXT championship. When they were doing the tail of the tape between Roxanne and Jordynne Grace, they referred to Roxanne as having 2 world title reigns, referencing her NXT championships. That's the first time that an NXT championship has been referenced as a world title. So I think that that's very interesting and could be a sign of what's to come. All right, we got to move because we still have a lot to cover, including this. And I really want to take just a handful of minutes to talk about this Obafemi guy.
Oh yes.
Wow. Obafemi.
OB.
Wow.
Yeah. Immaculate. What an immaculate performer. Just a freaking ticking time bomb. Once you throw him, he's ticking his way into the ring. Once he gets in that ring, boom, all hell breaks loose. He was definitely the highlight of that match. It was awesome. I mean, not to take any credit away from the other competitors, of course, but I'm glad he won. He was also my pick.
I don't see how you beat this guy. Seriously.
No.
Like, if it was going to happen, last night would have been the best chance, because he wouldn't have had to take the pin to lose the title. But man, this guy's amazing, and he's very young in his career too. So
he hasn't been wrestling a year yet.
Oh my God! I don't even.
The power bombs.
The
power bombs.
The throw of Wesley off the top rope on the mark. Joe. And let me just say, this is another match where even though he won, no one lost. And he convinced me now. Gallus got it. I actually remember the last episode. I was like,
not feeling it.
I wouldn't feel. Now,
you got a spark. You got a spark.
And after this, I'm like, okay, now we cooking with something. Now y'all got me interested. And even Mayor called it. We might now be getting that Rascals reunion and having Gallus versus the Rascals now. So it's just this PLE just like, this is what NXT is about. This gave me black and gold feels from the past, but now showing you like, no, we are the future. Yes, and the future is right now.
You can literally see the slow cook. You can literally see the pot starting to boil.
Yeah. And that's the beautiful thing. Said, let me quickly ask you, and this is just a put you on the spot kind of question. After last night, do you think when the story is closed that we will say that Obafemi is the greatest North American champion of all time?
Ooh.
No. And here's why. I think that he's such a hot commodity, and he's already getting a rub from a lot of main roster superstars that we're going to see him take the jump a lot sooner than people would have imagined. He's being praised by so many people that I think that there will be plans for him where he won't exceed the previous heights that the North American title went to. And I think the cool thing about Oba in this match, or for me, was seeing like the actual UFC fighters and like how their eyes would pop at different points during the match. How like when he was throwing people around, or when Wesley was doing all these aerial attacks, how they would be their eyes would get really big just seeing the athleticism. But Oba, just his inclusion in that match, it kind of felt like he was the third act a lot of the match, but then he would just appear and make his presence felt, just taking out Gallus by himself and then just finishing the match. It was great, but I can't shake this feeling that it won't be him elevating another NXT superstar when he finally loses the belt, but it'll be somebody coming down to just to get the belt off of him. And I can't think of who it is yet.
I can see him and Braun going at it. I see Braun Strowman coming down to go take on Oba.
Oh,
I could definitely see that happening. And then another thing.
Yeah. No, go ahead. I was just agreeing with you, Councilman. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And then one other, I know it's kind of a stretch, but I also could see them doing this with him just to show him how dominant. He may be the one to take it off Trick Williams and be double champ before going to the main roster.
Much like,
but I do see it. Yeah, but I do see a high, like to the mayor's point, I do see him on a fast track to hitting the main roster very sooner than later.
If your name isn't Braun Strowman or Omos or even Keith Lee, I don't think you're finding somebody to beat this man.
Yeah, and I would also maintain that Oba is definitely in NXT at the very. See, I see him going main roster maybe next year because the CW.
Oh, yeah.
He's an attraction. People are going to tune in to watch this man throw people around. Yeah. They're gonna tune in for that, and so it's gonna get really good. By the way, I meant to say this at the top of the show, but I didn't. We have a very big announcement coming before the end of the show. Just thought I would throw that out there, so stick around. Main event: Trick Williams, Ethan Page, NXT Championship. This is how it ends, folks. Trick Williams in the ring as the champion. What'd you guys think of this one? Yeah, let's start with you, Jason. What'd you think of Trick Williams getting the win over Ethan Page?
I thought it would have been weird if Page come in, won the title on his first night. So I think it was the right decision. And look, Trick is he's the flag bearer right now for NXT. He's the man. And if he would have lost, I think it would have been a bad call. Let him run with this for a little while. And, I had put in our private chat and I thought, it's good that they're keeping Trick and Oba on two different sides of the NXT world so that eventually when they do collide, it'll be epic to see those two. But last night made the right call. Have Trick keep that title. I don't even another 6 months. Then we figure out from there, but good call having him retain.
Councilman.
Glad Trick retained. It would have looked kind of real bad on him and NXT in the whole if Ethan Page was have just came in and just taking it from him. But I'm gonna be honest. This match was a little mid and not worthy of the final match after what everybody else delivered. Not putting the blame on one particular person or anything like that, but Trick Williams is going to need a barn burner match for when he defends his title. We need to see one of those. Right now, it's kind of been you're a good fan favorite. You're great on the mic. We like the drama with Lash, but match-wise, I need you I need you to give me a heat wave. No, pun intended, with the next PLE that's coming. I need to see why, outside of charisma and being a fan favorite, why in that ring you deserve to be NXT champion.
The women
Interesting.
should have been the main event last night.
Yeah. So let me ask this question to you, honey, because going into this, there were legitimately 3 or 4 matches of a 6-match card that could have ended the night. At one point, we thought it could have been the Underground. At another point, it could have been the women's ladder match. When we found out about the match between Roxanne and Jordan Grace, I personally thought that was going to be the main event. Were you surprised that the match with the smallest amount of buildup ended up being the main event, or did they get it right in having this as the main event? Considering that it's Trick's first title defense, would it have looked bad for Trick to have not been in the main event on his first title defense?
Yeah, I mean, if you're trying to, I mean, if you're making Trick Williams the face of this division and the face of this roster, you're gonna have to put him in the main event, and especially for his first title defense. So, do I think it was right? I think from a business standpoint, yes. From an entertainment standpoint, and from what I was watching as a viewer, I personally thought maybe another match could have been a main event, and this could have probably been like right before that. But regardless of what, we wanted Trick Williams with the title. We want to see him defend it. Ethan Page did what he needed to do in that match. I feel like this is definitely not the end for these two. Ethan Page was actually really good in the ring as well. Though the match, and I understand, Councilman, to your point, it was kind of mid, but like as far as what you meant by mid, like I just think that I don't think it was that mid. I still think it was a solid match. And, we needed to see Trick Williams in this light. We need to see him build up. And this is the result that you get for what happens when you walk around with a very big ego. You get tricked.
Nice.
I see what you did there.
Nice.
I see what you did there. Well done, honey. Well done. Well done. All right, Seth, I've got to ask you, man. You were there. What did you think about this as the main event? What was the feeling in the room?
I'm gonna try to be fair here, because outside of the Underground match, which I've been vocal about being the main event, the loudest thing of the night was the whoop that Trick chance in the entrance. So I would say outside of that, this didn't really have that big fight feel outside the entrance. And based on what I saw, it felt like Ethan Page carried Trick through that match. And I'm trying to be fair here, because you do want your world champion to close out the show, but this was an opportunity to make history on both fronts, with having the Underground main event or having the TNA crossover main event as well. And they chose not to do that. And this match didn't really deliver, especially from the ending standpoint, where Ethan is pretty much having the upper hand most of the time. He has a little argument with the ref, and trick shot, match over. So like, we're getting into territory right now where the aura outweighs the product. And I don't know how much we can continue to do that when moving to a new network. And this would have been a big opportunity to make Trick an even bigger star by dropping, because your stars are made in the chase, not so much the title defense. So like, having him on that chase with Ethan Page, and now, and from my vantage point, because I don't think this has came out on socials yet, but this is done with Ethan. Now, I don't think that did much to elevate Ethan at all. I don't think there will be another get back moment or anything like that. He came into the company, he got a title match, his first shot, and lost. Because if you've been following all week, this man has been getting attacked by Earl Mensa on site. Everywhere.
And again last night.
How do I know that? Because Earl Mensa ran into me on the way to the ring when I was trying to take a picture. And I didn't know that was going to happen, because nobody blocked it off. I got hit with a chair. All that happened. I don't know if it got caught on socials yet, but he darted to the ring, ran right into me before hitting the barricade. So they're going to do that thing with Metaphor, maybe a match with Mensa, then a match with Noam Dar. Maybe you take Noam Dar and have him face Trick. But we're starting to get into dangerous territory where, like when Shinsuke first hit SmackDown, where Dolph Ziggler's thing against Shinsuke was like, hey, you're just an entrance. Now, we know that's not the case, because Shinsuke could go. And for Trick, we're in this space where it's kind of like how Jade was with the TBS title, where she's getting all her live reps on the fly in front of us. And I don't know if that's always the best case scenario for your top star. So something has to give.
This is, oh man, I have so many additional questions I want to ask. And we got a couple of other things to get to.
I am healthy and I'm not going to sue the WWE for what happened. I will put that on record.
Jesus,
But
Lord.
Earl, we own you. Just know that.
But a certainly a big win for Trick Williams. And again, a lot of stories are being told. And one of the stories that's being told is what is the future connection between NXT and TNA. And as we see here, TNA was well represented. Of course, you see Jonathan Gresham along with Gail Kim. You also see Ariel Schnurrer and Anthony Ciccone, who is the president of TNA. So some very significant people in the TNA organization present last night. Again, I've mentioned before, Vegas is kind of an unofficial home for TNA. And it certainly feels like all of these people, I imagine, clearly were invited guests and weren't just there for one match, but clearly are there for a future that's being built involving the WWE. So congratulations to them. Really excited about that. Now, the other big piece of news that broke before this and continues to get legs is the news. And it's so funny. This is so funny because I sat right here in this chair on this show and told you guys,
Yes.
most of the time, don't even pay attention to when you're hearing people pontificate about, you know, so-and-so's contract is coming up and they aren't going to resign. I also, as a caveat, said, unless you hear it from them themselves. And with that said, all signs point to Ricochet. It's being said, he has said that he is not going to re-sign with the WWE. Lots of talk about that over the weekend. It's even being said that tonight will be his final appearance with the WWE on Monday Night Raw. I hate giving spoilers away. So let's just say, in light of this news, make sure you watch Speed this week on X and see what happens with the Speed Championship. But I want to get your thoughts. You know, the conversation around Ricochet began last week when Will Ospreay started talking about Ricochet's contract being up and how he felt Ricochet, you know, could do better in you know, AEW and possibly they run it back from New Japan. But I want to get your thoughts on Ricochet. Sounds like he's leaving the WWE. Do you think this is well, let's start with this. Do you think this is a wise move for Ricochet to leave this version of the WWE? Let's start with you on this one, honey.
I don't think so. I personally don't think so. But I mean, I was speechless when I saw this news. I'm still kind of speechless over it because I feel like Ricochet was always overlooked in certain cases, except for when he was in the golden years of Black and Gold NXT. You know, I just don't even know what to make of it. But I cannot say if I feel it's best for Ricochet. Only Ricochet could say if it's best for him or not. And for if this is what he feels and this is what he wants to go with, this is his decision, then we all, as loving fans, we have to respect that, number one, and two, just accept it, because at the end of the day, they're people too. And you know, he has certain standards, and I'm sure he has standards of how he views himself as a superstar and what he can bring to the table and even to the main roster or in the main title title picture. You know what I'm saying? It's just that he never really, I feel like he never really got there in WWE, whether it was the Vince regime or in, it seems even now that it's, you know, with all the hot talent coming up and moving around and everything since the draft, and you know, now the crossover and partnerships and everything going on, there's so much there's only so much space that one can have. And I guess Ricochet has reached a point maybe where he's felt a little staggered. And usually when that happens in work, it doesn't feel fun anymore. So this is probably the best decision for him to see where else he can go with it. But you know, I can't say if it's the best decision or the worst decision, but I would say it probably is. If this is what he's going with, then that's just what we got to accept and respect.
Councilman, if you were to rate the career, the WWE chapter of Ricochet's career on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you give it?
I give it a B. With something to your point, like you said, when it came to, we know some wrestlers who have never been world champion, like a Jake the Snake, but still revered by everybody. Ricochet has held numerous titles and stuff, and so he is in the history books when it comes to WWE. So I will say that he's had a pretty decent run there, but I do believe that I'll kind of say it like this, kind of how Honey kind of pinned on. It's a potentially good thing of him leaving, because the way that I see it is that not that they don't recognize his talent or appreciate his talent. Like you said, there are so many people that are there that are becoming superstars that it can be lost in the shuffle. But what I see for Ricochet, especially how he's been developing his new character, you know, shout out to the black woman, because his beard is now lined up, got some oil, he's dressing better, his baldness is looking great. He has the potential to do like, hey, I'm just saying, he got gold chains on now. He's saying ain't y'all. I'm like, hey, we know where that's coming from.
Wow.
But, he has the potential, though, to do a Drew McIntyre, to even do a Swerve Strickland. I could see Ricochet as an AEW world champion and being able to show that he can pack out a house as a main eventer and then potentially be able to come back to WWE and be seen as a higher caliber than the mid card that they've kind of sat him at now. So, but it's again too, it's just the potential of what it could be. But I see him like go somewhere else for a little bit. Show what you can do. Let people see you. Let them miss you. That's what it is. People don't recognize your greatness until they don't have it anymore. So let WWE feel that, and I think they'll still welcome him back with open arms when he's ready to come back.
Same question to you, Jason. Rate the WWE career of Ricochet 1 to 10.
I'd say 7. I mean, he's won a lot of titles. He's made probably more than enough money, and he met his wife or, fiance. So like those things are all important, but think about, Councilman nailed it. Cody Rhodes left, and look what he went away for a few years, became a bigger name, came back. Now he's the biggest star in WWE. Ricochet has been doing AEW style years before AEW was even a thing. He could walk in there like the godfather of that style and the matches we could get. And Tony Khan is just going to, back up the Brinks truck right to his front door. And everyone's talking about, oh, Samantha Irvin's going to leave too. Maybe not. But if he leaves, goes away for 3 years, he can come back a bigger star.
Let me ask you this, Said. Where do you, if indeed he does go, where does he go? And did the WWE chapter of his career help or hurt him?
If he does go, I think he should kind of write his own ticket and be a per appearance type superstar. I don't think he should sign a long-term contract anywhere. I know that'll probably be what the goal is of AEW, is to lock him down. I think he should probably try to be the face of a New Japan or something like that. Be something that hasn't been done yet, to where you can kind of go and navigate how you want to go. I would say the WWE part of his career absolutely helped him. For me personally, I think they didn't allow him. And this is a problem with the Vince era as a whole, is like he wasn't in NXT long enough. Like they moved him way too fast. Like maybe he had a title reign, North American, but then it's like the only thing I really remember him for in NXT is the biggest moment was the flip he did in front of the Velveteen Dream during a promo segment. He had way more time to create way more moments in black and gold to be a staple to where the main roster audience would have already gravitated to the things he can do. I think it was a match he had at the Royal Rumble with Brock Lesnar. He looked phenomenal in that match. Looked like he belonged. But it's like he can never last in those moments, not because he can't work, not because he can't promo. And I think a victim of whatever producers, writers did, it's like they weren't letting him be his authentic self on the microphone, which sucks because he's it's not that he can't talk, is that he kind of sounds like Patrick Mahomes. He has one of those voices that you can't escape. Unfortunately, that's just his voice. You got to put him in better situations with what he says to like make it believable and more threatening. So like, I think he does go, and we might be in one of those scenarios where we have an even trade because we don't know what's happening with Mr. Starks as well. It might be one of them like under table, we're gonna let you slide this, you slide me that. We hush, but do not sign any. I saw Christian had a 3-year deal. I don't even know how old Christian is, but like, don't sign one of them 360 deals, Ricochet. It's not worth it. Your wife's gonna get a bag. Let her get your money, make it a per appearance basis, like be your own boss, but book it. Tonight, we got a plot for Ricochet right next to Shayna Baszler in the upper room.
Hey now. Let's not do that.
Why you gotta go there? Why you have to go there?
The other side of the world.
Councilman, he trying to hurt our feelings.
Ron about to hurt the other side of the world. He going to the upper room.
Yeah.
and I let him breathe on that underground match. I didn't give my opinion. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna let him have his victory. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because you're gonna make me say what I want to say about it. And I'll
we already talked about NXT. We're not finna have this conversation.
It was the upper room.
With Jesus. Dang it, man, shoot. You can't help but sing along to that song.
We're about to see an otherworldly spirit tonight. I'm telling you.
Oh my gosh. So it'll certainly be very interesting tonight to see what happens with Ricochet, and if indeed it's his final night, how that will be handled in this new era, because this will be kind of the first star to leave under the new era kind of on their own terms. So this will be interesting to see how that happens. So all of this talk of people leaving, there's a talk of Ricochet leaving WWE, possibly going to New Japan. And then there's a talk of this guy, Hikuleo, coming from New Japan. He's apparently done with New Japan, and there's talk that he's coming to WWE. For those who do not know, Hikuleo is also the son of Haku, which makes him the brother of Tama Tonga and Tongaloa, who are both new parts of the bloodline. Hikuleo is like 7 feet tall. He is the man responsible for retiring Jay White from New Japan. He's a multiple-time tag team champion. He's held numerous titles over in New Japan. Do you think Hikuleo is on his way to the WWE? Said.
I got to meet Hikuleo at the Resurgence press scrum last year, and to quote Pat McAfee, that is one big SOB. That is a large man. And I love this.
64.
I love this because this is like a different look for the bloodline once he shows up, because there's not any like 7-footers or anything like that, 7-foot Samoan. It's very rare to see something like this. If you know like Pacific Islanders, Samoan culture, very freaking rare. This is a large dude, very well put together, and he's been improving in the ring a lot over the past few years. Like the match he had with Kenta last year in Long Beach, great match. Check out his work if you haven't. And I think when you have this like death row version of Bloodline that Solo's doing right now, introducing him instead of Jacob Fatu looks a lot better for the optics of the faction, because you have these guys that are relatives of Haku, brothers, and it's just like, I can't wait till they do it and how it looks. It's really, whatever inning we're in, and how far away we get from Roman Reigns' last appearance, it's going to make that feel so much more monumental to come back to this new look of everything and the story they're trying to tell. I love it. I hope they get my man's in the PC, get us some extra work, but he's going to probably be, in my opinion, the better wrestler of the other out of the three that we've seen so far.
Okay. Honey, is Hikuleo coming to the bloodline?
Sorry for a minute. I was just in prayer because I was praying for the future of my tribal chief. I don't know what the hell this is going to bring, but this man is just going to cause pure, utter chaos. If we thought Solo was bad, if we thought Tama Tonga was bad, if we thought even adding Tonga Loa was bad, even Jacob Fatu, I don't know. I guess you know what? Just bring them on. The more the merrier, right? The more the merrier. As far as we know, we could be in the 9th inning and not know it. And they could just be creating extra innings overtime for us at this point because it's hard to even keep up anyways. But all I know is that my tribal chief has a lot to deal with and a lot on his hands when he returns. Literally a lot. Between his younger cousins, and not to mention he's also I believe a cousin of Tongaloa or adopted something cousin. They're all cousins. There's so many of them, and there's just I don't know. So much bloodline, not enough time. I guess we'll see what the future holds. But I would be very interested to see him appear with the bloodline and see exactly how deep this civil war is going to get, if that's what we're getting, because it just seems like they're just lining up at this point for us. The whole tree. They're gonna give us the whole damn tree that they showed us in the beginning of this year. I don't know, man. It's gonna be great though. I look forward to it. If that's what the direction is, bring it, man. Bring it, because it just makes it more oosey juicy.
Yeah, it's about to be really, really crazy with this scenario. We're going to kind of speed through some of this. We also found out that added now to Clash at the Castle will be an I Quit match for the WWE Championship. Cody Rhodes, AJ Styles running it back for Clash at the Castle. What did you think of this addition to all of the other matches that are happening this coming Saturday at Clash at the Castle? Where do I want to go? Jason.
Angry Cody Rhodes is a Cody Rhodes that I like. I mean, I love AJ. I really don't see AJ winning here, but still, they had such a great match before, and now with the added stipulation of I quit, it's cool.
Councilman.
Same. Again, I think Jason just hit the nail on the hammer. This is going to be one of those great matches. I think we're going to see another backlash all over again. And this puts AJ Styles right back where he needed to be. We wasn't sure what he was doing when he came back, but now this shows like, hey, this is going to be one of those. This is an AJ Styles I like to see. And just to throw in real quick from that previous story, Jacob Fatu joins Roman Reigns' side along with the Usos.
I thought about that, and that would really cook. That would really, really cook.
Yeah.
That would cook for sure. Also, I think it's interesting that we are 2 years now officially removed from Cody's torn pec.
Wow.
Where he wrestled with that torn pec inside of Hell in a Cell. Now, to that end, I say I would not want to be AJ, because if a torn pec would not make this man quit, I don't know that there's anything that AJ will do that will make him quit at this stage of the game. But we'll find out. The man is crazy. But Cody, what a match this is going to be. Coming up this Saturday, we'll talk some more about that down the road. The Owen Hart Foundation, we found out that there are several additions, people who will be a part of this tournament. We did hear that Bryan Danielson is in. We found out over the weekend that joining him, well, really, we found out on the women's side, Willow Nightingale, Chris Statlander, they will be a part. Also, we found out that her name is escaping me, but it's coming back to me. Mariah May, there it is, that she will be a part as well. And then we know that Some other things are going on as well. Remember, the winner of the men's and women's version of this tournament will get a title shot at All In. So that will be very, very interesting. We also found out what's happening with the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship after a successful title defense yesterday at New Japan's Dominion event. Tetsuya Naito, the former IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, has requested a match and will get his rematch against Jon Moxley. Of course, Moxley won the title at Windy City Riot back about a month or so ago. Month and a half ago. And now we get the rematch at Forbidden Door. Crazy question. I don't even know why I even attempt to ask this question. But is it a better move that the AEW World title and the IWGP World title are defended against people from their respective brands? Or should their title defenses be against people from opposite brands?
Opposite. That's what
I feel like they had to make it up with this match versus the AEW World title.
Okay.
I've lost all faith in this match. After what Moxley did at Double or Nothing, I don't care. That's just
wow.
I'm not excited for this at all. It's just y'all have not done them right by any means necessary, and I don't see Swerve losing his title right now, and I really don't see Moxley handing it over either. So it's just I'm kind of like the Roman's Reign gift.
We'll talk about Swerve possibly losing his title if that Ricochet signing happens.
Ooh, now that one I don't mind. Don't mind him dropping it to him.
Because you talk about Ricochet and Ospreay and Wembley. I'm pretty sure they're thinking about that.
Swerve tweeted, "If you come here, I'm going to kill you," which is
he did.
They had that Lucha Underground history, so so cool.
Very, very, very interesting. My goodness. All right. So, man. All right. I'm going to speed through these because we've got to go. Congratulations to Damian Priest and Zelina Vega, who were both prominently featured in an amazing parade yesterday, celebrating Puerto Rico Day in New York City. We love to see this. There's a great, and I do mean great, Instagram reel and coverage from Damian Priest on his Instagram page, and WWE did a great job of covering that as well. Speaking of WWE, there are multiple playoffs happening right now, including the NBA and the NHL playoff. The WWE usually creates a special belt for whoever the winner is. Well, this is the belt that is being created to honor the Stanley Cup. And this belt will be available for anybody to be able to purchase. So pretty cool. Of course, they have that partnership with the NHL and Major League Baseball, where they're doing specialized championship belts for each of the teams. This is for the Stanley Cup champion. So this is pretty cool. And let's take a look at Monday Night Raw tonight. We only know of 3 matches, which says almost anything can happen on a 3-hour edition of Raw with only 3 matches announced. Sami Zayn taking on Otis in a non-title match. We're going to run back the semifinals of the Queen of the Ring tournament, which cooked so good. Io Sky and Lyra Valkyria will go at it one more time. And then this match, which, good Lord. Oh,
You already
Ilya
know. You already know. Oh, this is going to be disgusting.
Oh, no.
Ilya gets attacked backstage. Ricochet takes his place and then dies.
Again, Cedric. Again.
Braun sends him to hell being Jacksonville.
Hey, not too much. Not too much on Jacksonville. Not too much. That's where my father's from. Not too much.
This is going to be great. All right. Well, we're going to get ready to get out of here. I want to make sure everybody knows how to find us. Do not leave because we still have an announcement to make. So I'll tell you about that announcement in just a second. But Councilman, man, how can we find you on these good socials?
You can find me at Shayna Deserves Better on all social platforms, where we will be selling Justice for Shayna shirts Make sure you support. I want to see a sea of spades.
See a spade. Let's go.
Next time she's on TV.
Justice for Shayna. You're ready, Councilman. You're ready.
Yes.
This is great. Jason, how can the people find you?
Every Friday, me and my guys, we at that wrestling podcast, YouTube, where you get your audio. And then on Saturday, I'll be on the call for RWA Unleashed. You can watch the first 2 matches for free, indiewrestling.us on YouTube. And then you have to switch over to the paid level at indiewrestling.network. We were supposed to have Ethan Page, but we know how that went. But it's going to be a great night. 6 guys in the world title hunt. Last month, there was a lot of stuff happening around the RWA Heavyweight Championship. So you can check it out this Saturday, and then that wrestling podcast on Friday, wherever you get your audio and video on YouTube.
Awesome sauce. Seth, how can the people find you?
I don't got nothing to promote. You don't got to find me nowhere. Hold up. Like, I'm on cloud 10. Queen and Underground, the good mayor of Vice City. Make sure you just go out and rock the vote. Keep me as your elected official here in 2024 and yonder.
Don't forget to vote.
I love it. I love it. Honey, how can the people find you?
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you to the final boss. Oh my gosh.
I could tell you where you will not find me, and that is Vice City or Parkerville. But you can find me either sitting at the head of the table, keeping the seat warm for our tribal chief, or you can find me here Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays with the WWT live crew. Don't forget to check out every Friday. We have our Honey SmackDown watch along, as well as our NXT post show Wednesday mornings.
Awesome. Of course, you guys can find me at Bounderfied across all of the socials. You can check out my commentary work. We just had a big show with Southern Honor on Friday. That show should be up very soon on IWTV. Also, check out my work with IWE, also on IWTV. Plus, and guys, don't leave yet, because I'm telling you, I've got a really cool announcement that's coming, and I'm doing it with great authorization. I'll tell you about that in a second. What else? A lot's happening this month. Ashe Wrestling, June the 22nd. I cannot wait for that. Main event, Shelton Benjamin, Jonathan Gresham. That's going to be crazy. Big shows coming up with All Caribbean Wrestling as well. Looking forward to that. You can check all of the things out at AsheWrestling.com. YouTube pages for All Caribbean, Nightmare Factory, Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling. Really, really cool things are happening there. In terms of women's wrestling talk, WWTalkPod is where you can find us on the socials. WWTalkPod.com is what's happening with the website. And I told you I had an announcement. This isn't even my announcement. This is by orders of our tribal queen, the head of the table here at WWT Live. TK Trinidad, the real TK, has authorized me to make a really, really cool announcement. We can now officially announce that we have a brand new sponsor coming on board for WWT and for all things women's wrestling talk. And I want you guys to make some noise for our brand new. So yeah, Dylan doesn't know. I'm telling you guys, this is an exclusive announcement courtesy of TK. Our brand new sponsor is All Caribbean Wrestling.
Ooh. Yeah.
All Caribbean Wrestling has signed on to be a sponsor of Women's Wrestling Talk, and that is really awesome to see. And of course, they've got a big event coming up on Saturday, June the 29th, just a couple of weeks away. It's called Baja Bash. It's going to be crazy. Everybody you see on this flyer will be present, including Mark Henry, the ACW heavyweight champion. The Pope will be there. Lindsay Dorado will be there. Kenny King, Maserati, Patrick Clark, he will be there, and many, many others. It's going to be amazing. If you want to take a trip to Nassau, Bahamas to witness this live, definitely do that. You can get tickets for the event at bajabash.eventbrite.com. You will want to be there for this. This is going to be crazy. Baja Bash is part of All Caribbean Wrestling. All Caribbean Wrestling, brand new official sponsor here of Women's Wrestling Talk. Super excited about this. And again, you guys can check out all things going on with All Caribbean Wrestling at allcaribbeanwrestling.com. You can also check them out on the social streets at All Caribbean Wrestling on Instagram and on Facebook and on YouTube. Lots of great clips there from several of the events that have been happening throughout the year with All Caribbean Wrestling. So definitely check that out. Congratulations again. We are so proud to have All Caribbean Wrestling on board with what we are doing here at Women's Wrestling Talk. So shout out to all of you in the chat. You guys rock. Eric and Matt and Special to Nobodies and Cousin Ron and Boza and all of the good people. Eric and I'm missing some people, I'm sure, but we see you all. We appreciate you all. You guys absolutely rock. Keep rocking with us. We keep telling you, big things are popping off here at Women's Wrestling Talk. You know why? It's because we are the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet. Peace.
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at WWTalkpod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms, like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at www talkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network